Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Steve Wells, and today we are going to be talking running nutrition. So, different people will tell you different things, how many calories you should eat, what you should eat, when you should eat. You shouldn't eat at all because it will make your stomach fall out on the road. I don't know. But this is what I do. So, it's not necessarily going to work for everyone, obviously. But these are just some general guidelines that I like to follow, and I thought I would share them with you guys so that it can kind of guide you whenever you're figuring out what works best for yourself. So I'm going to start by going through some different race distances and what I use for them. This also would apply to training runs that are approximately this length. So we'll start off with the 5K distance. You probably don't need anything for 5K. If it's really hot out, you might want some water. If you're going to be out on the course for a long time, you might want a little bit of water. But other than that, you're probably fine. So the 10K distance is about the same. You might want to take a little bit of water if it's hot outside. For 6 to 8 mile runs, I usually will take water with me. You might want to take some calories with you, but you'll probably be okay at around that 10K range without any calories. So moving up to half marathon distance, you're going to want to start thinking about some nutrition at this point. I usually will bring something with me. I won't necessarily use it every time, but I'll bring something with me if I'm doing 10 miles or more, which is, for me, because I'm not that fast, about an hour and a half. For this distance, you're going to want to have water, if not some kind of electrolyte drink, which is always better. If you're going to be out on the course for, say, probably like 2 hours or more, I would definitely take some kind of calories with me. It's not going to hurt anything most of the time. As long as you practice with it and you know that it works well for you, it will definitely help you from crashing later on in the race. Alright, so we're doing a big jump now from half marathon to full marathon distance. Full marathon, you are going to need water or some kind of electrolyte drink, preferably. This is the zone where if you're not hydrating properly, you are going to run into problems for sure. And if you're not having calories, you are probably going to run into problems. But you're definitely going to want some kind of fluids, because if you run out of calories, you crash and you start walking, you sit down on the side of the road and you wait for a ride. If you run out of fluids, you can run into much bigger problems, and that's when people start dropping on the course and got to get picked up by ambulances and that kind of thing, which you definitely don't want. For this distance, you're definitely going to want some kind of calories going in so that you're not crashing and burning in the last few miles of the race. For around marathon distance, I'm still usually going to be using gels or maybe gummies. Tailwind, which is drink mix with calories in it. There's lots of different ones out there, so those are definitely some good options for this kind of distance, because they're going to be easy to eat, they're going to be relatively easy on your stomach, and you're going to be moving at a good clip at this point, hopefully, still. So you want something easy to digest, so that you can get those calories in but not be puking on the side of the road. Now we're moving on to ultra distances and trail runs. So I'm just kind of lumping these together, just because you need to recognize if you're doing a trail race, so whether it be a 5-mile trail race, a trail marathon, whatever, you're going to be out there much longer than you would be out there on the road. So if you can run a half marathon on the road in 2 hours, it might take you 3 to 4 hours to do a trail half marathon, and that's something that you definitely need to make sure you're accounting for, because the longer you're out there, it doesn't matter how many miles you're doing, you're still out there burning calories for a longer amount of time. So you need to make sure you're replenishing those. If you're doing this kind of distance, 50K and up, you're definitely going to want some kind of calories, or you could be putting yourself in a little danger there. So unless you're Michael McKnight, which if you don't know who that is, take a look down in the description. I'll leave a link down there. You're gonna want some kind of calories coming in. So for this distance, I'm gonna be using the same type of things that I'm using for half marathon, that's gonna be gels, gummies maybe, and drink mixes. But I'm also gonna be throwing in real food because I'm gonna be going slower, might be walking a little bit, might even be like sitting down at aid stations and eating some. So it's not going to be as big of a deal if you add a little bit of heavier food into your stomach. You also got to think about if you're out there for 20 hours, 30 hours, how many meals you would have in that amount of time if it were a regular day. So you not only have to have all of the calories that you would be eating normally, but you also have to add in thousands of calories to compensate for the mileage that you're running. So what kind of stuff should you be using? I've tried lots of different things out, and the main things to look for are something that is not going to upset your stomach and is going to get in as many calories as easily as possible. So during your marathon or ultra or whatever you're running, you're not trying to lose weight during that race. You're trying to keep your energy levels up during that race. So you shouldn't be counting calories, worried about how much you're eating during the race. You're wanting to replenish all of those calories so that you can keep your energy levels up. So if you have something that has crazy amounts of sugar, maybe even caffeine if you react well to it during runs, and a ton of calories, you're not wanting to avoid calories, you're wanting to get calories in. So if you're looking at, here's just a couple examples, not necessarily my favorite. In fact, this, well, I like spring, but this one is horrible. This is so gross. But this little packet here is going to be 210 calories. This here is going to be 100. Got 210, but you have to keep in mind this is for the entire packet of gummies, not just one gummy. And then you got your drink mix, which this packet is, I think, 200. Yeah, this whole packet is 200 calories. So I would put this entire packet into like a big water bottle. You can look up exact ratios online. So I'm just holding these up as examples, not necessarily what I'm always going to be using. What I am 99% of the time when I'm consuming calories going to be using is this. And this is Tailwind. I swear this is Tailwind. I will be mixing this into pretty much all of my water unless I'm going out for like an easy 3 miles and it's hot out and I'm taking water. I will mix this into pretty much all of my water just to make sure, one, I'm keeping electrolyte levels up. So this is going to have all your electrolytes and everything that you need. It's going to have all of the calories that you need. So you could basically just live off of this stuff. I definitely mix in more solid foods whenever I'm going longer distances. So I'll do like Tailwind and maybe like a granola bar or something like that just to keep my stomach full. And then this is to actually give me the energy. I did my entire 50 mile on Tailwind and roast potatoes. You can do quesadillas. Now this is when you're going longer distances, obviously. I wouldn't be eating a quesadilla during a half marathon. You can try it. It might be awesome. So other things I'll use whenever it comes to gels, I'll sometimes be using Springs and Humas. Not this one. Maybe this one. This one's alright. I've tried Goos before and they just upset my stomach, and they're so sweet and they just don't work well for me. Definitely try them out because they're super cheap, and if they work well for you, that's awesome, but do not work well with my body at all. When it comes to gummies, I only have one example because my girlfriend eats them all as snacks. But I don't usually use gummies just because I find them a little bit harder to eat. You gotta chew them up more. You gotta eat a lot of them to get the same amount of calories. She loves them. I don't like them so much. Definitely worth trying out. There's a million different brands out there. So definitely just look around, see what you can find. If there's a running store or something like that by you, definitely stop in, and they probably have a bunch of different stuff. You can choose one of these and one of those and one of those and try them out on some of your runs and just see which ones work, which ones are disgusting, and go from there. But the main thing in all of this is make sure you're practicing with your nutrition. I don't always do it. I know a lot of people don't always do it, but most of the time when you don't, you regret it. So make sure you're practicing on long runs so that if you start throwing up or you crash and burn, you can call a ride to pick you up and you don't have to DNF in your race. So I hope this video was helpful. Leave a comment down below telling me your favorite race nutrition, and if you would like another video that goes a little bit more in depth into the different types of nutrition that I've tried and that kind of thing. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys next week.